For centuries, people did whatever it took to survive. They hunted, distilled, scavenged, and defended their homes using methods born of necessity. Many of those same tricks saved lives, but as societies evolved, so did laws meant to protect people, property, and ecosystems. This is Deca Facts. Today we're counting down 10 survival practices once common in desperate times that are now illegal, or highly restricted, and why. 10. Setting unregulated controlled burns. For millennia, farmers and indigenous peoples used controlled burns to clear fields, encourage new growth, and reduce pests. Those fires were effective landscape tools. Today, however, lighting large-scale fires without permits is illegal in most places. Air quality laws, wildfire risk, and modern property boundaries make unsanctioned burns a public safety hazard. What once managed the land can now quickly become a criminal arson charge. 9. Snares and non-selective traps. Simple snares and spring traps were staples for survival hunters. They are inexpensive, easy to deploy, and historically widespread. Modern wildlife and animal cruelty laws ban many of those devices because they inflict prolonged suffering and catch non-target species, including domestic pets and protected wildlife. In other words, a trap that saved a frontier family could now bring felony charges and hefty fines. 8. Foraging and harvesting protected species. Foragers of the past routinely dug roots, harvested shellfish, or cut timber as needed. But today, many plants, fungi, and animals are protected by conservation law. Collecting certain mushrooms, harvesting endangered plants, or taking shellfish from closed beds can violate habitat protection and fisheries regulations. Survival practice becomes illegal when it threatens species recovery or public health. 7. Taking water from downstream rights or private sources. Historical travelers commonly drank from any flowing stream or diverted water as needed. Modern water rights authorities and private property law make that far more complicated. In some watersheds, water is allotted via permits. Diverting or damming flow without authorization can be an offense. The same creek that quenched a pioneer could belong, legally, to someone downstream who depends on it. 6. Distilling alcohol without a license. Moonshining is an old survival trick. It was a way to preserve grain calories, create tradable goods, or make medicine during shortages. During Prohibition and in frontier economies, illicit distilling was common. Today, producing distilled spirits without permits and tax stamps is a federal crime in many countries. The risk isn't just legal. Unregulated distillation can be dangerously toxic when done improperly, which is one reason authorities regulate it so closely. 5. Practicing medicine beyond legal scope. When doctors were scarce, people used herbs, poultices, and improvised surgery. Field medicine saved lives in wars and on the frontier. But modern public health systems restrict who may dispense prescription drugs or perform invasive treatments. Distributing antibiotics or performing surgeries without credentials can lead to criminal charges for practicing medicine without a license and endanger patients, even when intentions are good. If you're enjoying this look at how survival and law collide, subscribe to Deca Facts. We post new history and survival deep dives 3 times a week. Understanding what our ancestors did and why it's regulated today could change how you prepare responsibly for the future. 4. Using poisons and toxic baits. Historically, desperate communities used poisons to protect stores or control pests. From arsenic to plant-derived toxins, these methods remove threats quickly. Contemporary law outlaws the use of many toxic substances for pest control, or as defensive measures because they present a high risk to children, pets, non-target wildlife, and water supplies. What might have seemed expedient then is rightly prohibited now. 3. Squatting. Building on someone else's land without permits. When people moved across frontiers, they often built shelter wherever they could, with impermanent cabins and ad hoc claims. Modern zoning, building codes, and property law make that practice illegal in many jurisdictions. Erecting structures without permits, occupying land without title, or creating temporary camps on private or protected public lands can lead to eviction, fines, or trespass charges. 2. Forming private paramilitary forces or unregulated militias. In times of unrest, communities formed militias for protection. Historically, that was sometimes accepted or even encouraged. Today, however, training armed groups, stockpiling weapons for collective action, or operating as an organized paramilitary can violate federal and state laws designed to prevent organized violence. The line between neighborhood defense and illegal paramilitarism is enforced tightly for public safety reasons. 1. Setting booby traps and man traps to defend property. Across history, people have rigged traps to stop thieves and protect homesteads. Today, that tactic is illegal almost everywhere. Booby traps that injure or maim, even against trespassers, expose owners to criminal prosecution and civil liability. Modern law prioritizes human safety and requires that defense methods be proportionate and designed to avoid indiscriminate harm. Many of the practices on this list survived because they were effective. But modern legal systems limit them for consistent reasons: protecting human life, preserving wildlife and ecosystems, preventing accidental harm to non-target people or animals, and maintaining public order. Where survival solutions risk innocent lives, long-term sustainability, or public health, lawmakers have restricted or outlawed them. This has been Decafacts. Which of these surprises you the most? Drop a comment, share an example from history you think belongs on this list, and subscribe for more forgotten lessons that matter today. See you in the next countdown.